I think the hardest part of being laid off is really realizing that these people are just not your friends. I worked with these people for 2 years. I got laid off in August. It is now the end of January. I have not heard from anybody, like not one person. But what I can see is them looking at my LinkedIn, like stalking my LinkedIn. I could see you when you do that. But it's like you work with these people for years and they don't care about you. But then on the other hand, if you aren't social with them, then you're a bitch and you are also on the chopping block. So you can't win. No, I was not laid off due to any performance. Like, in fact, my performance was phenomenal. Like, I blew it out the water. I know my salary was a little bit higher than everyone else's, so I'm just going to chalk it up as that. But when you're either not personable enough or too personable, you will always be on the chopping block. Especially if you're a person of color, like I have to. So I gotta overlaugh, overperform, go to these happy hours that I probably don't even want to go to because honestly, I don't like drinking at work no more. All for y'all to just forget about me. Like, I have to create fake friendships that take my energy from my real people for y'all really not to give two craps about me. Anyway, I'm interviewing today. I have 4 interviews this week. I've just done 1. I have 1 more today and then 2 more later on this week. Wish me luck, guys. I really need a job.
Okay, so listen to this. So Meta, which is the company that owns Facebook and Instagram, plans to lay off about 5% of its employees, which is around 3,600 people. Now, they say that these layoffs will focus on workers who are not meeting performance expectations. The CEO, Mr. Mark Zuckerberg here, stated that this move aims to improve the company's overall performance. So the affected employees will be notified starting February 10th, and supposedly they said that they will receive generous severance packages. I would like to see those severance packages, because what do you mean generous? You need to give us the details. Now, you might be thinking, okay, so they're laying off people, so they're not going to hire new people. Well, despite these layoffs, Meta still intends to hire new employees to fill these positions later in the year. Apparently, this approach is part of Meta's broader strategy to focus on key areas like AI and new technologies. Now, I'm just speculating here, but I really do think that these performance-based layoffs have something to do with the return to office mandates that have been going on. As we all know, Mark Zuckerberg wants his employees in office, and I'm sure a lot of his employees are not wanting to comply. And so this non-compliance might be interpreted as a performance issue, and thus these employees are being laid off. Just a thought, but what are your thoughts?
Hey folks, so I will be getting laid off in exactly 10 minutes. Yikes. Never thought that this would be happening to me, but oh well, you never know, right, when it happens. So I got an invite for an 8:30 a.m. morning meeting, business updates, but we all know what that means, right? Business updates for a meeting that you gave me no notice for, and it's literally super early in the morning as well, but oh well. And honestly, I probably wouldn't have even guessed it from that. The reason why I knew about it was because someone at our workplace fucked up because they sent out termination and that your employment has been terminated to a lot of employees. I don't know how many, to be very honest, but one of my colleagues called me. She was panicking. She said, hey, check your email. This is being let go. Like, oh, really? So I checked my emails and then I verified with a couple of other of my teammates and they received it too. So it seems like a lot of people got it and then they said, oh shit, oops, what have you done? And then they backtracked it. It was a DocuSign, so they voided the contract or whatever that letter was. But that definitely was a good, I was mentally prepared because when I throughout the night I was like, okay, probably this is happening in the morning or day after, whatever, but they probably were not supposed to do this and they kind of gave everyone a heads up. So sucks to be them because they effed up big time, but oh well. I am, regardless of that, I'm still probably losing my job in now 8 minutes. So let's get laid off with me. It's kind of really sad though, not gonna lie, it's fucked up, but oh well.
So for context, I was an IT project manager at Bank of America. On Friday, I was laid off with no warning, same day layoff with not really much understanding of why I was even being laid off. It had nothing to do with performance and it had nothing to do with my TikTok, to answer that question first. So working in this industry and being so young, you're very, very disposable. You're easily disposable because everyone else is much, much older than you, and they don't take you seriously from the beginning anyway. I had been there for about 4 months, and I had left my job 4 months ago at another company to work at Bank of America. So when it came time to do any type of layoffs, they looked at me first because, I was so young, they didn't take me seriously anyway, and so I got chopped. And I was very, very sad about it at first, as you could tell in that last video, but I feel a lot better about it now, and I'm actually kind of happy about it. I think that this was something that's supposed to happen. It's just a part of my journey. I have more to the story, but I really, really want to say thank you all for all the well wishes, and I really, really appreciate it.
So here we are, day 9 into 2025, and I got laid off today. So getting laid off was obviously not in my cards for 2025 or any time in the near future. I've been with my company for almost 6 years. It would have been 6 years in March. So to say that I'm heartbroken is such an understatement. I have 3 kids. I don't know what the future looks like for us. I've never been laid off before, so this is really, really hard for me. I'm not a crier. But I've always left a job on my own terms, and I actually left my last job to start up, get the company that I worked with recently, off the ground and running. They were already, pretty established, but we were really, really, really small when we started, and, just over the years we grew, and, they became really successful, so I'm happy for their success, but I'm just at a loss for words. I just don't know where to go from here. I don't know how to, cope with, the grief. I have to drop my laptop off by Monday. And I'm just trusting God that, He's going to see my husband and I through this. And I know He's faithful to provide. And I know another opportunity is going to come. It's just really hard for me. And yeah, I don't know. Just pray for us, pray for my family, pray for my kids, and also pray for all the other employees that are going to be affected by this.
I saw this video here, so let's talk about it.
A Berkeley professor says even his best students with 4.0 GPAs are not getting job offers. And we're talking about computer science students. In a LinkedIn post, Professor James O'Brien shared that tech degrees simply don't seem to be translating into jobs anymore.
I think that a lot of us got caught up in making 6 figures being in tech, that the market really became oversaturated. It's important to note the way the corporate world is, you always need to level up. There's 2 major things that I think is happening. Number 1 is that a lot of us get very comfortable with our positions that we don't want to level up. We're comfortable in our role. We're comfortable that we get a 6-figure paycheck without having to be a senior or having to lead a team and all of that. The second thing is people getting comfortable as well. There's others who are very comfortable in their roles and they don't want to leave. And especially if you work in a work environment where you don't have to leave, and you're always going to have your job, whether you promote or not, unless you do something very bad to get you fired. A lot of us are comfortable and don't know that it's time to leave, go look for something else to allow for others to then also get experience working in that organization. Also, a part of it is people not diversifying their skills. And again, everyone wanting to go into tech because you make a lot of money in tech, yada, 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 not realizing that there is money to be made in other professions as well. There's healthcare, there is the food industry. There's so much that can be done. I'm in accounting, and I know that that's something that when I'm in these executive leadership meetings, they're always talking about that there is not enough talent in accounting. We're having trouble hiring for firms, even retention at universities for accounting and finance programs have dropped, where people are not really signing up for these courses anymore. There are good paying jobs when you work in accounting, when you work in finance, when you work in hospitality, but a lot of us just get stuck on one idea of one profession making you six figures, which honestly in today's economy is not even enough anymore. Like, we have all of this AI and all of these different technologies now that is doing the work that you were once contracted to do. So people who work in marketing, for example, there's really not too much need for that many humans to be in marketing, because 9 times out of 10, y'all have like Chat GPT and other AI functionalities that are doing the work for you. There's just not enough work to go around anymore. It is okay for you to diversify your skill set. If you went to school for undergrad in computer engineering, go get an MBA. Diversify your skill set so that way you can always be marketable. And that's the problem with happening with a lot of these layoff stuff, is that people are not marketable because you've been working in the same organization forever, or you've been doing the same type of job forever, that you can't pivot into something else. Like, you can't pivot into healthcare, you can't pivot into the food industry. So that is my little 2 cents on today's episode of life in corporate America when it comes to layoffs. And I'm speaking from firsthand experience because my husband has also gone through this. He's gone through this twice. And he's a mechanical engineer. He went to school for mechanical engineer, but started in like the tech software industry. And now he's finally learning that it's okay to pivot. Like, you just want to work in tech, you just want to work from home and get a comfortable lifestyle sometimes, but that may not be what God has in store for you, or it just may not work out. That's not where the money is right now. When you are marketable, you're going to easily pivot and be able to go a long way. And being marketable is, as I mentioned, learning a new skill, learning a new industry, having multiple languages. If you can speak or try to learn another language, that's gonna come a long way, right? If you are going through a layoff, please don't be discouraged. I know it took my husband almost a year before he found his new role that he's in right now. So I understand layoffs firsthand. Just trust in the Lord, keep praying, keep seeking out new opportunities, and in the meantime, like, don't stop learning, and don't be afraid to pivot. Love you guys. Bye.
I got laid off 2 months after getting a significant raise. A raise that came with wording like, "We hope this will convince you to be here for the long haul." 2 months later, gone. I have people still today who reach out to remind me that even though this happened in November, it was absolute junk. Executives at this company were mad that I was let go, even though they were the decision makers. I had literally hit every goal given to me, succeeded on levels unexpected in the role. So why am I telling you all of this? As a bit of a reminder of a few things. 1, your layoff has very little to do with you. You have to remember that. I say it all the time, but it is worth remembering. And 2, the things that people say to you at work about how good you're doing mean nothing. Now, maybe nothing's the wrong word, because if you're there and you're getting raises and you're succeeding, obviously it means something to do well. But there is no long-term promise. You are who you need to look out for. You, your family, your loved ones, your inner circle. The decisions you make, the jobs you take, the moves you make in your career, that needs to be your top priority. Do not ever feel guilty about prioritizing you and your circle first.
I'm about to share a crazy technique that helps people avoid getting laid off. It's not for everyone, but for some of you, this could be the very thing that helps you keep your job. It's going to take me more than 30 seconds to explain this, though, so if you don't have time, bookmark it and come back. And I want to start off by telling you a story to help paint the picture of why this technique is so valuable to certain people. So I had a gentleman come join my company and tell me the story that he got laid off very unexpectedly recently. And the reason was that it was between him and another person in the department. And the boss, the manager, was very frank with him. The manager had said, "Look, I don't know how to do your job, but it's really interesting stuff. And, I think it's important to the company. But the other employee, I've done her job before, and the work she does is like really not something I enjoy doing. So I'm glad that she has that job because, to me, it's busy work and it's not what I like to do. So literally the manager had shared this with him. He took that as, well, awesome. I have the skill sets that she doesn't have, so she's going to keep me, and she knows how to do the other person's job. So why not just eliminate that person and she can take that work back? That's how he thought about it until he got laid off and he learned the reality. See, every time managers are told you have to cut people, do you want to know what's going through their head? What work do I not want to take back? They're trying to figure out where they're going to take that work and who they're going to give it to. And so if there's work that somebody has that would have to come back to them and they don't like that work and they don't want that work back on their plate, they're not going to want to let that person go. That person has actually created some insurance for themselves. Whereas with him, the manager literally admitted, even though I don't know how to do your job, I think it's interesting the work that you do. So the manager thinks, fine, I'll let him go and I'll figure that out because it's more interesting and better. And I certainly don't want the other work back. This happens way more than you realize. And I think for many of us, we don't understand that. So you have to, if you want to keep your job, the reality is taking things off your boss's plate, taking projects, taking tasks, taking activities that are a total time suck for them, or more importantly, they literally cringe and hate doing, and you volunteer and take those, the more those things sit in your wheelhouse, the more insurance you buy yourself, to be honest. Now, I said this wouldn't be for everyone because a lot of people are going to hear this and go, I'm not doing that. I don't want the crummy work too. And I get that. If you don't, it's okay. But I started off by being really honest and saying this is a technique that when done correctly will make you stay when other people are being let go. And so why not explore, is there something that your boss has on their plate that's cumbersome, takes up a lot of time that you might enjoy doing or learning and taking off their plate? This is a way to build some insurance for yourself. Otherwise, let's find you a new job because that's okay too. Speaking of which, I wish I could work with each of you one-on-one, but I can't. And so instead in 2025, I put together a free resource center. My team and I put $1,000. The 4 most popular video tutorials that I taught last year are in there. Other places charge $1,000 for this. We don't even take a credit card. Nothing required. You just pop your email address in to get inside this private community, and you will get access to it so that you can learn all the things that you need to know to job search successfully and to grow your career in what is, again, one of the most competitive times I've ever seen. It also gets you access to my live free podcast. I go live answering your questions 3 times a week. So be sure to go join the free resource center so that I can keep giving you advice like this and help you avoid getting laid off, right? For example. And if there's a question you haven't seen me answer, please, in the comments below, pop it down there. I might answer your question in a video next, okay? Good luck. Go get them.